Good morning, students. Good morning, educators. Good morning, parents. Thank you to all of you that are tuned in every day. Today, we will be focusing on the topic in life orientation known as the development of self in society. Life roles involve your relationship as a child, a student, a parent, and different types of relationships that you experience. Evolving nature of and responsibilities inherent in each role, how roles change and affect relationships, handling each role effectively, and the influence of society and culture. Changes associated with the development towards adulthood, adolescence to adulthood, as well as all the physical and emotional as well as spiritual changes that goes hand in hand with the changes that you experience. So this is the content that we will cover in today's lesson, focusing on the development of self in society. Life roles. Life roles relate to the stages of life where we are and to our relationships with our family, friends, and others. Our life roles change as we go through different experiences and life stages. In one of the previous lessons, we have done the stages of life, and I mentioned to you guys, or I mentioned to the students, the different stages of life, starting from infancy, going all the way from a toddler in preschool to middle school or middle childhood, through adolescence, what you guys are currently going through on high school or experiencing in high school phase, and then also early adulthood. You can have a brief look at the table, see the different stages, the age of the child or the age you are in that specific stage, and then also the tasks and goals that goes hand in hand with that type and age group. Life is a journey. We fulfill many roles throughout our lives, right? So our cultures and religions have found different ways of describing them. The table below shows the main life stages with the events, life roles, and relationships in each stage. We have different life stages from infancy through adolescence all the way to adulthood. Life roles can be positive and it can have negative effects on your life as well. Life roles involve rights as well as responsibilities. This is another topic that we have covered, rights and responsibilities. And we have said that every human being is entitled to human rights. So the table below shows some examples of life roles, the rights that goes hand in hand with that life role, as well as the type of responsibility during that life role. So as a young child, your right is to be fed and protected, and the responsibility there is to obey your parents or your caregivers. As a class member, your life role is to be a class member. Your right you have is to have a teacher who wants to help you, but your responsibility is to obey your teacher and to do your work. So those are life roles. Then we just have a little case study or a little scenario that I found in one of the life orientation textbooks. If you guys do make use of the Viva Life Orientation Grade 10 Learners textbooks, you can find this activity in there as well. So the activity is about the Benson family. So in the speech bubbles, each child as well as each parent of the Benson household has something on their heart that they would like you guys to know and help them solve the problem. Emily Benson is a 15-year-old and she says the following: I'm in love. Jake is the cutest guy in grade 10. Even grandpa likes him and he can be so grumpy. We are now going steady, so we do everything together. My girlfriends say they never see me anymore. But what can I do? The man comes first. That comes from Emily Benson, whom is the daughter of the Benson family. Then we have the son, Max Benson, 17 years of age, and says the following: I can't wait to get out of school and start my own business. I have a good business plan. If I can get the financing, I'll start with 2 employees. I'll attend a business course in the evenings. So those are the words from Max Benson, the son of the Benson family. Then we have Tanya Benson, 20 years of age, which we can now see is the oldest or the eldest daughter of the Benson family. And she says the following: I love being at college and sharing a house with 2 friends. Studying is hard work, but I've only got 1 year to go. Then I'll be a qualified teacher and Scott and I can get married. He still has 2 years of study, so we'll have to live on my teacher's salary till he starts working. That comes from Tanya Benson, the 20-year-old daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Benson. Then we have Miss Marjorie Benson, which is the mother of the household or the mother of the family, and she says, after being a full-time mom for so long, I'm scared to go back to work. I used to be a good accountant, but many things have changed. And won't it be bad for Max and Emily if I'm not home when they get back from school? So those are the words coming from Miss Marjorie Benson, the mother and the housewife. Then lastly, we have Mr. Charles Benson, who is the father or the priest of the household. And Mr. Charles Benson says the following: I've been sales manager for 3 years. The last 18 months have been difficult, and today I heard that I will be retrenched soon. I am worried. How will I care for my family if I become unemployed? Marjorie might have to get a job as well. So we have heard about Emily, which is the 15-year-old daughter. We have heard about Max, the 17-year-old son. We also heard about Tanya Benson, the 20-year-old, and also known as the eldest daughter. And then lastly, we have Mr. and Mrs. Benson, the mother and the father of the Benson household. And as you know, we do not create scenarios and not come up with solutions to solve them. So on the next slide, we have an activity. Excuse me. There we go. So based on our case study or the scenario about the Benson family, there are only 4 questions that we are going to discuss, and then we will move along with the next topic. So as you can see, the first question there says, list all the life roles in the Benson family. Tanya Benson is the eldest. Excuse me, guys, I'll just go back to the question. Give me a moment. There we go. So question 1, list all the life roles in the Benson family. And also, we said that Tanya Benson is the 20-year-old daughter of the Benson family, and she is also known as the eldest daughter of the Benson family. Then we have Max, who is the 17-year-old son, and we also have Emily, who is the 15-year-old daughter. So you have to list all the life roles in the Benson family. Then remember, the youngest is Emily, then we have a middle child who is Max, excuse me, and then we have the eldest sibling who is Tanya. So, with that being said, Emily is the youngest. So, Emily, her life role is that of a teenager. She is also a girlfriend, as you guys have heard, that she mentions Jake, who is a boyfriend. So, one of her life roles is to be a teenager, also to be a girlfriend. Is anyone else that would like to add? Max is the 17-year-old son, we said, and Max would like to start his own business because he feels that he has a good business plan. So the role of Max is to be a son as well as a teenager. Yes, that is right. Thank you so much. The role of Emily is that she's the youngest child, so she's a teenager. And then also she is a girlfriend as well as a friend to her girlfriends. Then we have Max, who we heard is the 17-year-old son. And Max is also a teenager, but he is also a learner because he is still in school. He's a 17-year-old, so Max has his life roles of being a son, a teenager, and a learner. Yes, that is correct. Thank you so much. Tanya, yes, Tanya is a young adult, yes. Tanya is also a student and a housemate, but she is also a friend, right? She is also a sister or a sibling. So there are the different life roles from each of the Benson siblings. Now let's go have a look at the life roles of Mr. and Mrs. Benson. So anyone that can tell me, that can tell us and share with us the life role of Miss Marjorie Benson. She's a housewife, yes. She is also a mother figure to her kids. So one of her life roles is a housewife as well as a mom. And also she is the wife of Mr. Benson. Right. Lastly, we are going to discuss and speak about the life roles of Mr. Benson, the head of the Benson family. Then we'll be moving on to question 2. Yes, thank you so much. Miss Marjorie is a housewife, a mother, and the wife of Mr. Benson. So Mr. Benson, Mr. Charles Benson, his life role is that of a father and also a husband. He's also the breadwinner of the household, yes. And he is also a sales manager. As we have heard, he's been working in sales for 3 years. So one of his life roles there is also known as a sales manager, which is the job he has been doing for the past 3 years. So those are the different types of life roles in the Benson family household. So now that we know what life roles are and how we each have certain life roles, we can go on to question 2. Thank you so much to those of you that are answering and taking notes, and to those of you that are merely just listening and paying attention. Question 2. Explain how the life roles have recently changed or how they may soon change. So, with question 1, you have discussed, or we have discussed now, the different life roles of each member of the Benson family. So question 2 now asks us to explain how the life roles have changed or how they soon may change. So as we know, Emily is the youngest, so she is the teenager. And things are starting to change as we've heard. She spends more or less time with her friends and more time with Jake, who is her boyfriend, right? So she recently became less committed and available to her girlfriend because she was more committed in spending all of the time with her boyfriend Jake, and they are now doing everything together, as we have heard, right? Yes, Mr. Benson is the dad, he earns the money for the family, but he will also soon be retrenched or he may be unemployed and unable to provide financially for his family. So now we have discussed how the life roles of Mr. Benson and Emily may change. So we are left with Max, the 17-year-old son, Tanya, the 20-year-old daughter, and Miss Marjorie Benson, the mother of the household. Yes, Emily doesn't spend time with her girlfriend. She cares more about her boyfriend. That is right. So we are going to speak about Tanya. We have heard that she was in her second last year to completing her studies, meaning she only had 1 year to go. So her life role will change from becoming a student to being or becoming a qualified teacher. But also, she will become an employee instead of a student, and she will then only be the breadwinner of her house. As we have heard, she says that Scott, her boyfriend, still has 2 years to study. So that is how Tanya's life roles may soon change after she graduates and enters the world of work. Then lastly, we are going to go to Miss Marjorie Benson. So we know that Miss Marjorie, she was a former accountant, right? But she was also a full-time mom and housewife. So her roles may now change from becoming an employee instead of a housewife, and she may soon go back to work. So that is how Miss Marjorie Benson's life roles may soon change. Yes, thank you. Tanya wants to be a teacher. That is correct. She lives with Scott, her boyfriend, and she will become an employee after she has graduated or completed her degree or course at college. And then lastly, we have the little son, the teenager Max, who is 17 years old, and he will soon leave school to become a self-employed entrepreneur, right? As we have heard, Max has a solid and a good business plan. So he would just like to finish school, he stated, so that he can start his own business. So his life role will change as he will now leave school and become a self-employed entrepreneur. Also, It may change from becoming an employer or a manager to moving or changing to a part-time student because he said that he would do a part-time course, right? So those are how the life roles of each member of the Benson family may soon change or have already recently changed. Thank you so much, guys, for the answers. We are doing great. Your participation is lovely. Right. Question 3. Evaluate the influence of a society and a culture on these life roles. So anyone can share the answer to question 3 with us. Evaluate the influence of society and culture on these life roles. I will give you guys an idea. So the influence of society and culture on Emily makes her see that going steady is important or it is an important achievement. So she simply accepts that her boyfriend must come first or come before everything else, and that it's to be expected that she will now neglect her other friendships. So the society and the culture that they experience has an influence on their life roles, and especially Emily, because the influence of society and culture on Emily makes her see it as an achievement if she puts her boyfriend first, because they see that as going steady, going into the right direction. So she now simply accepts that her boyfriend has to come first and he has to come before everything else because that is expected and that is what is happening in her community, in her society. So that basically means she will put him, her boyfriend, first before her friends, no matter how she makes her girlfriend feel at the end of the day. So, what are the other influences of the society and culture on the other members of the Benson family? Anyone else? I think the influence of society and culture on Max allows him to take initiative for his own future because it encourages achievement and success. This is because he is a student at school. He has his own initiative for his own future, so he's working on a goal for his future despite what society thinks. But also, there could be certain aspects within society that helps him or that allows him to take this type of initiative, right? But this type of influence is also then being seen as what we call positive influence because he is planning and assessing help to achieve his dreams, right? So he's making an effort, he's planning and assessing how he can help himself to achieve his dreams and his goals. Yes, Max is going to focus and he's going to be a salesman or a manager of his own business and he is going to achieve success, right? So the society and culture therefore then have a positive influence on Max's life, right? What can we say about the influence of society on Tanya, the 20-year-old daughter of the Benson family? How can society influence her? I would say that Tanya is a level-headed 20-year-old that is happy to marry at an early age with her husband and to support her husband while she starts working. Anyone else that can tell us something about Tanya? As I have now already said that she is happy to get married early and to support her husband until he starts working. A strong self-esteem and positive outlook allow her to ignore the traditional demands of society. So we can either say that Tanya feels as if she needs to get married now because of the influence that the society has on her. But also we have heard that she says she is extremely happy that she is with Scott and that she would like to marry Scott, find a work, find a job, become employed, and live happily ever after while being a teacher and supporting her husband whilst he's busy finishing his studies. So I would say that her strong self-esteem and a positive outlook allow her to ignore the traditional demands of society, but we can also say that society depicts how she has to feel about getting married at a certain age, right? Is there anyone else that would like to add something to Tanya or about Miss Marjorie Benson or about Mr. Charles Benson? So the type of influence of society and culture on Miss Marjorie Benson makes her insecure in her own abilities, whether she will cope with working again and whether she would be neglecting her children. So those are the type of influences that the society has on Miss Marjorie. So we know that she was a former accountant, but she also became a full-time mom and a housewife, right? So now she is insecure or doubtful about her abilities as to whether she will be able to cope at work as a full-time accountant and whether her children will feel neglected at home when she is at work. And then also the low value that society attaches to the work of being a mom and a housewife has a negative effect on Miss Marjorie Benson. Yes, she has to get a job, but she's worried about leaving her children. She's kind of insecure and does not know what to do yet. Then, Mr. Charles Benson. The influence of society and culture on Mr. Charles make him feel that caring for his family is entirely his responsibility, right? As we have heard, he's been working in sales for the past 3 years, and he also found out that he will soon be retrenched, right? So he feels that caring for his family is his responsibility only. Because he was the only one in the household that was working, he was the breadwinner. But this is also something positive because he feels entitled to decide whether or not his wife should go out to work. So those are how the Benson family shows us their life roles and also how the society influenced them and their decisions in their family life. Right, thank you so much, guys, for your participation in the scenario. We are moving on to our next topic, developing from adolescence towards adulthood. So, what is adolescence? Adolescence is the time usually between the ages of 11 and 18 developing into an adult. So if you are in grade 10 and you are between the ages of 15, turning 16, 17, or 18, you are becoming or nearing towards adolescence. Or if you are turning 18, you are nearing towards adulthood. So adolescence brings big change because during this time you move from being a child to becoming an adult. Developing into adulthood involves every part of you, your body, personality, emotions, needs, interests, beliefs, sexuality, and lots more. So we already now know that adolescence happens between the ages of 11 and 18, developing into an adult. And adulthood, therefore, is the time when you are an adult, where you now need to take a right and the responsibilities. You now know that you need to take a right steps towards your future. You need to take the right responsibility for your actions. So our identity is made up of 5 areas. They are physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual maturity. In order to become a successful adult, we need to keep growing or rather much maturing in each area. Physical maturity starts or begins from being a helpless baby. So therefore, in the infancy stage, from being a helpless baby, you have already grown to experience physical changes that make it impossible for you to reproduce and to do tough physical tasks. Physical maturity means that you should treat your body properly, eat healthy, and take good care of yourself. The most obvious changes during puberty are the physical changes. Girls grow into women and boys grow into men. So, in a nutshell, that is physical maturity, one of our 5 areas of maturity. Then we also have what is known as emotional maturity. So, as a baby, there was only one thing you could do with your emotions, right? You screeched, you cried, or you nagged. As you mature and you grow, you slowly learn to trust and recognize your feelings and emotions. So, you now know that a friend or the person sitting next to you has upset you. So you are feeling angry towards that person. You are experiencing emotions of anger. You are feeling angry towards that person. But because you are maturing and still growing, you have also learned to deal and to recognize your feelings and your emotions, right? So when you are emotionally mature, you express your feelings in a controlled way. You also make an effort to understand what someone else is feeling. Then our third area of maturity is a very important one, mental maturity. Mental maturity has to do with your thinking. You constantly learn new things and strategies. When you are mentally mature, you evaluate information, you make decisions that are true to your values and your principles. So your mental maturity is important because it allows you to use your thinking skills and it allows your mind to constantly learn new things and strategies as well as skills, right? So we have covered physical, emotional, and mental maturity. Right. Our last two areas of maturity is social and spiritual maturity. Social maturity. During adolescence, it is common for teenagers to socialize in groups. That way, it is easier to help define who you are and what your likes and dislikes are. You take responsibility for yourself as you are now socially matured. Then also spiritual maturity. Spiritual maturity means you know what to believe and do not believe, also whom you choose to believe in. Whether you are an atheist or have deep faith, if you are spiritually mature, you will respect other people and their beliefs. Okay, so the diagrams on the slide basically shows you the physical changes during adolescence that females and males go through. They are on my left hand side. On the slide, you will see the physical changes of females, and on my right hand side, you will see the physical changes during males, right? So physical changes during adolescence. During adolescence, your body changes from that of a child into the body stages and takes a few years to complete. The physical changes start happening during puberty as a result of change in the endocrine system. So as we have just seen in the diagram, on the left side we had our female physical changes, and on our right side we had our male physical changes. So these physical changes start happening during puberty as a result of change in the endocrine system. The pituitary gland also releases what we call as the growth hormone, right? And to those of you that are tuned in that has life science as a subject, you will know that the terms endocrine and pituitary gland, are also terms that frequently come up during life science, right? So it also causes the testes in males to release testosterone, and in females it causes the ovaries to release estrogen and progesterone, right? So those are the times of your body where puberty hits and your physical changes are now taking place within your body, right? You will see you are starting to develop armpit hair, facial hair. The boys will change kind of, and the girls will start to menstruate. So those are the different types of physical changes that we experience during our different life stages or during the life stage of adolescence. And then, as we are nearing towards the end of today's lesson, coping with change. Physical changes during adolescence bring many changing needs. You need to make bigger effort to keep your body, hair, and breath fresh and clean. Some of the physical changes you go through and experience are acne, body odor, cellulite, dieting, eating disorders, etc. So these are the various different types of physical changes that we go through when we are experiencing and coping with physical changes, right? So you will notice acne starts to develop on your skin. You will start sweating more. Your sweat glands will open up more. So that means you will sweat more when you exercise, when you run. Females will start to develop cellulite, or they will get cellulite, or they will notice that there is cellulite on the body. And also dieting and eating disorders also play or has a huge role when physical changes take place, as we are now all nearing to an age where we are understanding the fact that we need to take proper care of our bodies so that we will be healthy and avoid certain sicknesses and diseases, right? So, coping with change, we have covered. So, there are certain ways you can cope with change, how you can deal with acne, how you can deal with eating disorders. There are ways that you can cope with this kind of changes, guys. So, please, if you are struggling, try and research to find out what it is you can do, what diet you can follow, what type of eating disorder it is that you may feel you are struggling with. Try and research and get as much information as you can so that you can equip yourself on how to cope with these kinds of changes, and also to let yourself know the type of help that you need when going through these changes. Lastly, we have coping with intense emotions. So the thing that I always say is, I am feeling in my field, or a lot of the times you will hear your friend say that he or she is in their field, or you are basically just feeling some type of way that is not normal to how you feel every other day. So you are now in your field, you are feeling too much emotions, you are feeling too much deep and strong emotions. So sometimes your feelings are so deep and strong, it is almost overwhelming, right? And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to the fact that when we experience an emotion of anger, we do not only get angry and upset, but we also experience another emotion, such as sadness, which means we're now battling with over emotions that is overthrowing us. So we need to find ways to cope with these types of emotions in a controlled way. So firstly, there are four steps. Excuse me. So the four steps are: firstly, you admit how and what you are feeling. Also, secondly, you allow yourself to go through the emotions and tell yourself that you are allowed to feel this way. And then lastly, to tell someone how you feel, pray or meditate about it. And then lastly, excuse me, the fourth pointer over there is to look for positive ways to clear up how you feel. Talk to the person who upset you calmly, or in a way that you will be able to express how you as an individual feel. Thank you so much, guys, for today's lesson. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the participation. Please, if you guys are experiencing any physical changes that you feel you cannot cope with, try and research ways that can help you to cope with this kinds of physical changes. There are many organizations, many support groups that help people come over physical changes such as eating disorders and extreme diet plans. So please try and get information, try and equip yourself so that you will have enough knowledge about what you are going through and experiencing. So once again, thank you so much, guys, for a lovely week of participation and dedication. Um, we will be back Monday. Please join me every weekday at 9 a.m. for grade 10 live orientation lesson. Please also follow us on social media at Africa Teen Geek. You may make use of the hashtag lockdown school. And if you have any questions, you can contact me via email at mosesjanelle19@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome weekend. We'll be back on Monday at 9